I am so happy to be here with you. I'm Mindy Arbuckle, and I really want to welcome you. We are moving into a very interesting time where some people feel that all is lost and that there is no hope and that they're feeling stuck and lost and tossed about like out of control of their life. Somebody else is controlling it. And then there are other people who are feeling hopeful, who are feeling a surge of unity, of love, of connection rising. And I don't know about you, but I know about me. I am of the latter camp where I see the potential for greatness coming. I see the potential for humanity to come back together because we are so divided right now that the only way we can go is, yes, we probably could stretch a little farther apart, but I feel the energy is pulling us back in. It's like when you stretch a rubber band, it stretches and it stretches, and the only thing it wants to do is come back together, is to find its place of harmony, of ease. And I find that a lot of people are wanting that. We desire, we crave more ease in our lives. And so today, let's chat about how we get back there. How do we start to heal the divide? How do we start to let go of the pain and the suffering that we have been through? There's no denying it. There's no going back. There's no forgetting it, really. But we can use the past and what we have been through in the last year and really through our whole lives, the great stuff and the really, really hard, ugly stuff, to inform our lives today rather than keep controlling us from the shadows. Because that's what's really happening is when you're feeling out of your center, when you're feeling stuck and exhausted and overwhelmed, you're not really in control. Your highest self is not in control. The small self is. And oftentimes the small self relegates its power. Even though it loves that power, it relegates it to someone else, to another person's way of thinking, to what somebody else believes about you, and then you take that on as your own belief. Well, enough of that, please. Let's move into this new year with light and with love and with connection. And that starts with us. This is not just a head game where we have to convince other people to change their ways. This is about a heart game where we start with our own hearts, our own minds, and then that naturally influences other people. And we get to do this through intentionality. Who do you want to be? It's a real question. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that's overwhelmed and depressed because politics is not going the way you want it to go? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who is always afraid of their neighbors because they might catch a virus? Do you want to live in fear? Do you want to live in anxiety and depression and overwhelm and grief and like, oh, it's never going to be better? Or do you want to be the person who sees the beauty in all, who looks for connection instead of division and differences? Do you want to be the person that inspires others and smiles and lets other people know that it's okay to smile still? Do you want to be the person who hides behind the masks we're all forced to wear right now, or who will reveal kindness through your eyes? A smile hidden deep beneath that mask of yours. You get to choose. You get to choose every day. Every day you have thousands of choices that you have to make. From the moment that we begin waking up, you can choose what you put your focus on. You can choose to get out of bed when the alarm goes off or stay in bed a little longer. You can choose to wake up with your heart filled with gratitude for the day ahead and for all that has happened in the past. Or you can choose to be weighed down and exhausted by another day. What do I have to look forward to today? You get to choose. You get to choose in every moment what you decide to bring into your body through the food you take, through the media you intake, through the breath, the quality of each breath, through the time that you spend through the day. You get to choose. You get to choose if you will focus on light and spirit or weight of darkness. You get to choose. It really is a choice. And it's an intentional choice. And that's what happens when we start this path of waking up, is we get to become more intentional about our choices, because whether or not you know it, the choices are going to be made for you. And when you're not consciously making those choices, when you're not as intentional about them, generally the choices follow your primary conditioning. And unfortunately, humanity has conditioned us with more negative energy and more negative input than it has with positive input. And that's a very big, broad statement, but that's all it is, okay? So if you have the opposite experience, more power to you. You have more light to give. But for most of us, normal, average, everyday human beings, we're told no more than we're told yes. We're told that you can't shine that bright. You need to play it safe. Be reasonable. Yes, okay. True and not true at all. What if you stop playing by other people's rules? Other people's beliefs that you are enough or you aren't enough. Other people's beliefs that you've got what it takes or don't have what it takes. What if you stop believing everybody else and you start believing in yourself? That's the heart game that we're playing. Loving and appreciating all of you. The parts that are still wounded, who still need loving attention, and the parts of you that are freaking ready to roar, ready to shine, ready to courageously take on whatever comes your way. Both sides are real. Both sides need attention. One to heal and the other to keep moving forward, to give you the motivation and the inspiration to do the healing work and to keep moving forward. You see, we have to both consciously be the people we need to be, we want to be, that we want the world to be. Let's start here with who we are being. Can you be more kind? Can you be more forgiving? Can you let go of some of the things that have been holding on for years, if not decades? This world needs healing. But we can't ask other people to do what we aren't willing to do ourselves. On this path of light and love, it is our journey first. And then we inspire others. Do we have to be perfect at it? Nope. But do we want to be walking on it consciously? Yes. You don't have to be a perfect human being to be this perfect whole soul that you really are. And to expect someone else to do that for you is unreasonable. Like that's a real, true unreasonable thought. Not unreasonable because somebody else told you not to be that good. Break that one, shatter that one way out of the park. I think I just combined a couple metaphors there. Be unreasonable with what you expect for yourself. Be unreasonable with okay, well, I can do anything I want to do, and I'm the only one who's stopping me. And so, let go of the grudges. Let go of the pettiness. Let go of taking things so personally. Almost always when someone comes to you and says something that hurts your feelings, it's usually not about you. It's usually about what they're going through. So can you have a little understanding and compassion for that person and say, "Ooh, wow, they just laid a lot on me, but it's not me that they're hurting. They're hurting themselves." A friend of mine and I had a conversation last week, and she said at a women's conference that she attended, a women's leadership conference, she got a rubber duck. A rubber duck of all things at a women's leadership conference. And do you know what that rubber duck represented? Floating above the surface of all the negative energy. And she put that on the sink or next to the mirror of her sink because she's in the medical field, and so she has to wash her hands like 100 times a day. And every time she sees it, it's a reminder for her to rise above the negativity. That yes, we can get lost and stuck in the muck and the mire and everybody else's problems and everybody else's low vibe. Or it could be like a rubber duck and float on the surface, taking ourselves above it. Allowing yourself to be the light that somebody else needs. You know, you never know when your random act of kindness is going to lift somebody out of something really heavy. A book I just finished this morning had a story of a woman who was on the verge of killing herself, and she was on her way home. And she usually didn't look at people while she was driving, but she was sitting at a crosswalk at a stoplight, and a man walked in front of her car, across the street, and smiled at her. Random act of kindness. And she said usually she would never look up and even make eye contact with somebody, but because she was literally on her way to go kill herself, she decided to just open her eyes. What harm could it do? And because she chose to open her eyes, and that man chose to smile, she went home and said, not today. And the next day she said, not today either. And that put her on a path of healing. And today that woman is healed, and she's no longer suicidal, and she sees goodness in the world, and she spreads that goodness. That comes from within. That man's random act of kindness, that smile, that's all it took, was a smile to change that woman's life. My mother-in-law and I talked earlier today, and she's feeling down about the election and everything else that's going on in our country. And I said, Jane, this is no time to give up. This is no time for us to wallow, but to focus on our own goodness and to allow ourselves to withdraw from the things that make us angry and lower our own energies, and to focus on what does connect us to the goodness, because our government's not going to solve anything for us. I'm listening to all kinds of things. Somebody else today on the radio said we have to rely on the government to solve it. That is crap. We live in a free society, and it is our freedom to choose, which gives us the freedom to change our lives and the lives of others. So allow yourself to do this. The other thing about my mother-in-law is I gave her this reminder that it is about our hearts. And she sent me an email about an hour later, and it was a woman who wrote an article about being the second message, being the second messenger. And if you hear two messages in the same day, then God is telling you something, and you should pay attention. And that article was the exact same thing in different words as our conversation. So remember to listen, to look for the messages, to see the brilliance, the love, the connection that exists all around us, and choose. Be intentional with how you spend your time. Is it worth it? Are you worth this energy? Is you spending all your time worrying about COVID going to do anything to make you feel better or solve the problem? Probably not. You can still look at the numbers and do the things you need to do, but give it less of your energy, because it's not helping you, it's harming you by spending too much time focusing on something that you can't have any control over. It doesn't mean ignore the world. Stay informed. Do the things you need to do, but choose intentionally where you put your energy, where you put your focus, because it does matter. And the more that we become intentional about where we put our focus, through conscious breathing, through meditation, through random acts of kindness and smiles, and just being able to open our hearts and smile for ourselves just a little more every day, that is where this ripple effect will start. It is within our own power to change this world. And just by believing that this world is ready for change, by knowing that it is possible, it becomes possible. For some people, they don't believe that it's possible to heal the divide, to change the attitude of others, to find commonality. And well, they're right. They will never find those things. But you and I, dear sister, dear brother, we're different. We are ready to see the greatness that humanity has within it. I don't care that through all of humanity, at least recorded humanity, we have always looked for the negative energy. We've always looked for the worrisome. I don't care. Today is our day. This year is our year to allow our highest self to be in charge, to lift ourselves above the negativity like the rubber duck, to be an inspiration to others, to shine our light brightly, and to be radically in love with ourselves and with this world. If you love deeply yourself, you will care for yourself more. You'll hold firmer boundaries. You will not let people walk all over you. You won't even tolerate the mind trash anymore because you love yourself that much. And do you think if you're no longer tolerating mind trash, if you're not letting negative energy in, and also you're not sending it out, if you feel as if there is hope and love and connection and beauty in this world, might you have a different impact on the rest of your life, on your colleagues, on your family, on your community? I think so. And I think you know that as well. And it just takes one conscious choice at a time. And yeah, you're going to falter. Whatever, you're human. Let's have some fun doing this. Let's have some fun changing the world for the better. It's time. Why not now? If anybody can give me a really good answer to that, I'll be open. I want to hear it. But if you don't have a good enough reason why not now, then join me. Join me in creating an army of love. We are soldiers. We are warriors of light. We shine bright. We do not bear swords or guns. We connect our hearts. We connect easily to other people because they are us. Their soul is the same as mine. Each one of us is a divine spark of light, of love, of divinity. You are divine. You are not a human searching for yourself, for your soul. You are a soul here on a human mission. And when you realize that, soul gets to be in charge. Highest self is the way. So ask yourself, when you can't decide what to do, what would my highest self do? What would she do? What would he do? What's the harm in asking yourself that? You still have a choice. If highest self says, I would let go of some of that stress, I'd put it down. Well, then you get to choose. Do you get to carry that stress or do you want to put it down? You can still choose, even if highest self says something you don't like. Go back to the other way. It's your choice. But now you've done it consciously. Now you've done it with open eyes and an open heart. That's the difference. This world is ours. It's so bright and it's so beautiful. I hope that you can see that as well. And if you want to join me, gosh, join me just in energy. Join me in presence. Join me by making a comment on this video. Join me by working with me more closely through sacred fulfillment. I have a big mission on my heart, and it's going to include people working closely with me, people working with me from afar, people like you who are watching these videos, people who are reading the content and being silent in the background, but doing their own little work in their own homes. It doesn't matter what level we connect at. The connection is the most important thing. All right, so if you want to talk, if you want to be part of this mission of connection and love and healing of this world, join me. Schedule a call. It's free. We'll see if we want to work together. And if organizing and shining up the inside to make it match the outside is interesting to you, then let's work together. If not, it's cool. We can still stay connected just like this, because this is also very important, and a vital part of what we do is staying inspired and staying connected. All right. If you want that link for scheduling, it's mindyarbuckle.com/talk. But choose to be intentional. Choose love. Choose flow. Choose to smile, even if you have a mask on. Choose to let your heart be light. Choose to laugh. Choose to be joyful. Choose to be courageous. It's all within you. It's all within you. I love you. I hope you know that. And I so look forward to this journey that we are embarking upon in 2021. So many blessings to you. From my heart to yours.